Cheeky. Flashy. Gallus. There we go. So again, we're holding the microphone like a cool professional today. I just packed up one of the escape rooms at the escape room to come down to swap it to another one ahead of my team, only to realise that the escape room I just packed up was the escape room I needed to leave open. I feel quite silly. I have a relatively short to-do list today in the escape room. I will get round to all of it. It involves sweeping a closet. It involves putting a pound coin in a drawer. I know what you're thinking. Why the fuck haven't you done either of these activities? They will take you 2 minutes tops. Great question. I haven't decided to record this little podcast for the anniversary week of the Gallus podcast, titled Top 10 Gallus Podcasts of All Time. We must have made collectively about 500 podcast episodes. And I'm going to give you right now a top 10 of what are my favourites of all of the ones that we have made. And yes, I've arbitrarily included one from each show to just like severely plug each show because I felt like it would be more fun that way. So honourable mention to, I wrote down 10 but I actually wrote down 11 when I was trying to shortlist this. So I'll give you the honourable mention of Haunt for the Gallus podcast film and TV as the best film and TV review that we did because it psychologically broke Callum McKinley, and that is an achievement I spent 10 years trying to achieve. So who'd have known it would just have taken 1 hour and 30 minutes of the film Haunt to achieve that. Our podcast is actually longer than the movie itself, as we had a lot more hate than the movie had substance. We also had to re-record the episode on the fly because the first half an hour weren't recorded. So we had the same conversation for the first half an hour twice. Ultimately, we had 2 hours of podcast, which is fucking insane considering how much of a heap of shite that film was. And at number 10, just trumping it, is the first edition of the list of horror. It is It, the last time horror was mainstream, 2017. I believe that's the name of the podcast on the horror list page if you were looking for it. It was the first one for the horror list that I did with Mickey. Sat down with him and we recorded for an hour. I did a lot of research into the time of 2016, 2017, the Killer Clown mass hysteria, the movie itself, Stephen King, and it all added together to be just a really nice chat because the film, it makes you feel a good way, especially talking about it and reminiscing on it. So I think I enjoyed this chat so much because I enjoyed aspects of the film. And of course, it was our first horror list venture. It is here to arbitrarily stand for the horror list as a whole, but I think we don't get better than episode 1 in terms of my enjoyment. I think in terms of actual quality and quantity of conversation, a fair few of the other episodes are better, i.e. the prom night one, the paranormal activity one has some really good analysis. Hell, the Megan one, that was a right laugh. Like, we just spent that entire one laughing, which is different. The Sinister episode, which we'll have just released, really fucking good. But this one is the one I enjoyed recording the most, mainly because the sun was outside. I remember just being sat in this one particular spot at uni, about to start recording the 5 episodes. Sun comes out as we talk about this, goes away as we talk about the next one, as the next set. It, the last time horror was mainstream, is my number 10 for podcasts that we have created. Number 9, our first dive into the Pissed Takes. Pissed Takes round 5. Skiving the School. What a chat this was with me and Aaron. We had Grolsch beer, which somebody from the races had told me to pick up. So that's what we picked up. I'm sitting wearing my House Soon Is Now t-shirt. Aaron's just looking like Aaron as we just sat and drank this absolutely mid-beer, researching the fuck out of this beer that I have never even contemplated hearing of. Telling all of these stories about how we used to skive the school and having so much fun in the process doing so. Again, this was just a really fun one to record, and I think it sums up Piss Takes as well as Piss Takes can be summed up. It's just me and Aaron having a gab, and me and Aaron had a gab, and that's what this episode is. Numero 8 on this list: Recall, Review, Ramble, RRR. It is the first episode of the Gallus podcast, Film and TV, that was a film review. It was the RRR podcast. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's got the most views of any film podcast we've ever done, barring The Love Witch, because for some reason it blew up on YouTube. Cannot explain the why. And we basically tried to review in the format of the film. We had 10 minutes each where we solo reviewed it, came together and spoke for an hour. It was our longest film review to the time at the date. It was an hour and 36 minutes, I think, long, when most of our reviews we always said were an hour. And still with the horror list, an hour, but now it's only Recall, Review, Ramble. I'm just like, fuck it. They can be as long as they fucking are. This one, Recall, Review, Ramble, so integral to the foundations of the Gallus podcast of film and TV and Gallus discussions in general, that Recall, Review, Ramble would go on to be stolen as the name of the new podcast film show and movie and media show. What does that say about the importance of this episode? And also, I edited in music and shit in the background, and it overall came together to be the most absurd, fun podcast to listen back to of all time. That's not true. There's 7 more that I preferred. I would get a wee phone break in the middle of this interim podcast because I'm an arsehole and I got a message. Oh, Libitum's finally finished. Nice, Beth. Nice. I look forward to getting a chance to watch Beth's film. Looks the part from the stills that she's uploaded. Beth knows her shit. She knows how to make a film, and all of her films have a very nice distinctive look, which I really, really enjoy. And there's some compliments to Beth in the middle of this episode. Very fun, very amusing. Number 7, Who the Fuck Are You, Josh White. It was the first edition of Who the Fuck Are You. It was when I got the formula down. It's when I established this is what I want to do with this interview series. I interviewed one of my best mates, and I got him to tell stories, and we just had a lovely time in a very, very tiny room in uni. Like, so small, the camera was right in front of it. He had this camera in his neck. I learned lots of things just about the life of Josh White. It had so many different themes to it, and questions and conversation topics, and it's the best looking one, because for Sean's, I forgot to change it from log footage, as with Cam's, I got to change from log footage. Mika's is in a plant pot. Josh's is the one that has the look I wanted the series to have, which was just our bodies, white background, but the other two, it didn't really work out that way. And Sean Lamon's also very strong, but we didn't record enough to get to an hour, so I had to arbitrarily add in like 6 minutes of Lamon lens or something into it just to boost it to our mark, whereas me and Josh had pretty much bang on an hour. And then with Aaron and Mickey, I scrapped the 60-minute thing because I was like, I'm not arsing myself to do this. That's just too much effort. Numero 6, Ayrshire Untold, Maybole. It was the first podcast I ever recorded. It was the first time I ever used a microphone. It was the proper pod booth with John McBlain. He didn't realise that I had essentially planned it to go as long as I planned it to go. I'd booked out in my head the studio for my 3 episodes, and he was like, yeah, Ryan, you can record your 3 episodes. I didn't realise everyone else's episodes that they were recording for this were all to be like 6 minutes long or 10 minutes long each. He just assumed I'd be out in an hour. No, I'd fucking fully scripted out 60-minute long episodes, and I had a guest coming in to be interviewed, Simon Glendinning, the chair of the Carrick History Society, to talk about Maybole and the Carrick History Society. I'm like, no, I'm doing this my way. So John was very annoyed at me that day, and I was like, well, that's on you for not redoing my own project proposal and giving me the all clear last week at the pitches. So meantime, we went for about 55 odd minutes, and me interviewing him, very nervous, not a great interviewer host at this point, because I'd never really done it. I was scared of how the technology worked, because that was me just literally learning how the technology worked. I was struggling to get the interview flow go because I hadn't done it before. But for a first interview, I'm really proud of it. It was the most listened to Gallus main podcast because it was the biggest person I interviewed, essentially. Person with the biggest following, biggest circle. I'm really proud of how it turned out, really proud of the artwork. Thank you, Michael, for your help with the artwork and the descriptors, and it's what I literally launched the Gallus podcast off of, was those Ayrshire Untolds, and I won't lie, we peaked then. There's a good mix of different shows and a good mix of different years and stages in my life that all of these are from. A lot of them are from last year. In fact, the next 5 podcasts are all from last year. 7 of the 10 were all last year's. Because last year I made the cautious change to stop taking it so serious and start having fun. And with fun came apparently some of the best podcasts I've ever made, in my opinion. Because number 5 is Young Creatives Part 1. All 3 parts should be on this, but part 1 was the funnest conversations. We spoke about being little babies in the creative industry, little primary school Waynes, and identifying warning flags that we were destined to go terribly, terribly downhill as young creatives. I think there is a part 4, almost definitely to be in the future, with maybe Mika and Josh sat down along with myself to just talk about young creativisms, just kind of summarise it all, make a big long a 1 year on Young Creatives podcast, essentially. How did we get on from last year? I adore this podcast series, to be fair, the Young Creatives. It really, this episode, man, I remember just talking about pokies and youth patter and slang, and we halfway through had the idea to film a shitty film like Josh used to on his phone. We just had so much fun with Young Creatives, and it's my most re-listened to one of our podcasts, I reckon. I mean, that's not true. I just straight up lied to you. Number 4. Piss Takes Round 2. The World's End if it was in air. We stole TLC format of 3, 2, 1, show your answer, and each devised a pub crawl around air in relation to the movie The World's End, whilst drinking Star Pram and reviewing the movie The World's End. Does that not sound like the best fucking time to be a part of ever? Damn fucking right it does. It's 2 hours 40 minutes long. We scran the fuck out of a chippy right before it. Went up the stairs, sat down in front of the camera, recorded this absolute sheer shambles of a podcast. Josh White played way too faithful for the film. Aaron just wrote 12 pubs that he knew around air down, and I wrote 12 pubs moderately related to the film. We'd explain why we wanted to go there. Then we argued with each other to make the perfect pub crawl, of which we then said, we'll do it. And well, I'm sat here, and as of now, we're about to do it. Shit. It's the next next round that will be happening. It's a terrifying prospect, that. I can't handle 12 pints. I mean, I believe in the Sky in the School episode we did clarify. No. Half pints and shots and bottles will be clarified as you drink per pub, because we are shite bags and I don't want to die. Number 3, my third favourite podcast I ever recorded, is my most listened to podcast. It's the one podcast I re-listen to more than any other, and that is Dublin Boys. Dublin Boys, right? Because you see, we went to Dublin. Me and Josh sat down for 2 whole feckin' hours and spoke about our trip to Dublin. What a fantastic fucking podcast that was, because what a fantastic fucking trip that was, and the episode completely encapsulates what that trip was. It's the stuff of legends. I mean, we've been back to Dublin, and there'll be Dublin Boys Rep Part 2 occurring, but that will be actually Dublin Boys. It'll be a piss take. Interestingly enough, this year it'll be a piss take, because it'll be a wee solo episode for me following Dublin, and it'll be a piss take with myself, Aaron and Josh, talking about our trip to Dublin. That's a fun, interesting one, isn't it? Oh, we're always changing the game, splitting everything across all of the shows. Ooh, la 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 la. Oh, I did a fucking Mika impression there, didn't I? Fuck you, Ryan. I've been quite aggressive mood today. My team at work they weren't particularly great, and it was chucking it down earlier, and it is now beautiful outside. So I'm sad that I'm sat inside. Going to film with the 4 players later. Looking forward to that. Then Josh coming in. We're going to sort our tickets for our trip to London this year, and I'm going to try and convince him to record a Mario podcast with me because I've dropped a pencil. Because I want to record a Mario podcast and I really want it out of my way, out of my to-do list. It'd be handy, Josh, if you could, just record it with me. Thanks, mate. I hope he does. Number 2, the second best podcast we've ever recorded. This is why I'm desperate to record Mario Galaxy review, because it is, of course, the Super Mario Bros. 1993 podcast. I know more about this movie than I know about any other film or any other piece of media. I could tell you pretty much every fucking detail about the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie, with the exception of all of the questions I had, because this podcast is 4 hours and 9 minutes long, and all 4 hours and 9 minutes of it is me asking questions or if not, spouting research that I had done into the film. I know so much. I adore the episode. It's the best film review we've ever done. Nothing will ever come close in relation to it. It is the longest podcast we've ever recorded. Nothing, I think, will ever come close to it in terms of length of a podcast. If anything, it will be another one of the film reviews. We had one that was about 3 hours 20, I think, if there are no strings attached, 3 hours 10. But nothing is going to touch 4 hours and 9 minutes, not anytime soon, I don't think, as the RRR episodes average around 2 hours, as opposed to double that, which is fucking insane that we were able to go for that long about one movie. And the first 2 hours was pre-production, and the second 2 hours was post-production. And as of now, Cutscene have just released their take on Super Mario Bros. And we share a lot of similar stories, but at the same time, we have very different stories running through it, and that makes me very happy that we were able to both record 4 hour long podcasts about a movie and have 2 quite different talk throughs, because we'll have different opinions, right? That's my fear for the eventual Madam Web podcast, is that I'm just going to copy and paste the Cutscene one that I watched a year ago that started the RRR podcast. But what is the best podcast I have ever recorded? In my opinion, number 1, it's Callum's Farewell podcast. Canada. 3 hours 30 minutes, 10 inch extra, 10 inch export that Callum brought with him to be consumed during the recording of this episode, of which had multiple instances of karaoke. We sang the song for the football, Sweet Caroline. We sang the RRR theme to close. We did a bit of Hot to Go, bit of Hotel California, bit of Caledonia. Did a lot of good karaoke throughout that episode. We shared stories of the origins of our friendships, the highlights of our friendships. We shared stories. I had all of his friends submit little voice messages or video messages to say bye-bye, enjoy Canada, mate, including Daniel, including Alex, you know what I mean? I edited together some Frankenstein's monster of a You Got the Touch Transformers song, Bye-Bye Callum montage, to say bye-bye from the podcast to the man who sodded off to Canada and is having the time of his goddamn fucking life. I miss Callum. I miss Callum a lot. And that episode really does encapsulate my feelings and thoughts and friendships with that man, as well as Josh White. Josh White giving him a gift. Me giving him one last nod. He's not dead, but he is dead to me. Thank you very much for listening to the top 10 episodes of the Gallus podcast. According to me, the only person whose opinions matters, because it is my podcast. Who is this episode for? Great question. If you're new to the Gallus podcast for whatever reason, then this is absolutely the episode for you, because you can then go and you can take the top 10 episodes. You can go back and listen to those top 10 episodes and figure out what you like yourselves. Because I don't think we get better than those, but I absolutely know we have a lot of consistently strong episodes. Every film review, Well Chilled, American Psycho, Angel Falls Christmas, all of the RRs, No Strings Attached, fucking Anyone But You, fucking Friends with Benefits, fucking, hell, even my, like, 12 best horror movies list. Fucking amazing episode. I've swore a shit ton. Josh's solo episodes. Josh and Callum talk about Prague. The Great British Biscuit tier list. My top 10 wrestling themes of all time. Just because that's a great Spotify episode because they have music in them. The Hot Fuzz episode, the World's End episode, the Super Mario Bros episode for the original movie. Any episode that we are about to release. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy all of the Gallus podcasts. This has been 3 years of the show. On to year 4. A lot of big stuff coming, a lot of nothing's coming. I'm very happy with where we are. Very happy.